So have you ever been playing some Fortnite and you're like, oh my gosh, this game is so sweaty and not fun, and it's too crazy. Well, don't worry, you're not really that wrong. Fortnite, especially this season, has gotten pretty intense. Even when just wanting to relax and play some Fortnite after a long day, it can get a bit tiresome to get gunned down or killed by another stupid sword, or die from something you couldn't see, or just something that feels almost completely out of your control. So that's why I'm making this guide. Now, I don't play ranked Fortnite that often, and yeah, I stick to zero build, but I've been playing this game for a while, and I think I have some good tips and tricks that might be able to help you out. So feel free to look up my account info. Here's my username and everything. You can look up my stats. They aren't like the best, but take my word for it. I think I can help you out. Okay, so also one more thing is that this is being recorded on January 7th. So any updates after that, I can't really help you. You're on your own as far as that goes. Okay, so let's do this. We got this. Okay, so before we can win anything, we gotta understand what we are shooting with and what we're also getting shot with. The guns this season are hit scan, which means that rather than shooting a projectile round, the bullet instantly teleports wherever it was shot at. This is how guns such as the Veiled SMG can beam people way out of a normal SMG's range. So like you're just sitting on one side of like a whole location and then boom, you're getting beamed by someone with a random SMG. It's crazy. And that's also why the hollow twisted ARs become so good. Now, which gun should you prioritize? Well, as I mentioned, the hollow ARs become so good that I would argue it's the best gun in the game. It's insane. Its damage and fire rate, while kind of just average, its hollow sight can be used to just beam people all the way across the map. It's crazy. It's almost like a sniper. If a sniper had insane accuracy at all ranges and was also an assault rifle, it's stupid. So yeah, due to its all-around capabilities, it allows you to carry more utility items, so you don't have to have like 3 different guns filling a whole bunch of different purposes. You can just have the hollow AR and pair it with one other gun. You can only have 2 guns this season. You don't need to carry 3. It's a-okay. So in my opinion, pairing the hollow AR in either the pump shotgun or veiled SMG is the best way to go. However, the auto shotgun can be a fine enough fallback. So like if you have a auto shotgun that's like legendary or mythic, but then a pump that's only like uncommon or maybe even rare, I would often take the auto shotgun. The pump is really good, don't get me wrong, but the auto shotgun is still not bad. As well as that, the veiled SMG, it's good, but I would still put either one of those shotguns above it just because you can beam people already with the AR. And the veiled SMG is also kind of a beam weapon, not really a burst weapon, kind of like the shotguns are. Anyways, the Oni shotgun and the Surgefire SMGs are good. Don't get me wrong, they're good guns, but just, I don't know, they're more situational in my opinion than any of the other guns I just mentioned. The Surgefire, it ramps up its damage over time the more you shoot it, which is good, but then you just want to kill them quick. You don't want to wait for it to kind of, you just want to shoot the guy. And then the Oni shotgun is fun, its range is good, but if they're at a range where you need the Oni shotgun, just shoot them with the hollow AR. I mean, like, you know, come on. You want a shotgun to be a shotgun. You don't want it to be kind of a mismatched thing. It's not bad, but there are just better options. Okay, sorry, I went on a little rant there. Aside from the guns, it's more important that you have some kind of mobility at all times. It's not more important, but it's really important. You need mobility this season. The Void Oni mask, I'm just going to call it the portal thing. I don't want to use its real legal name. Allows you to throw a portal to teleport to. You've seen this used. It's a lot of fun, but you can use it for some more sneaky strategies, I'll say. Of course, you can use this to get out of situations, such as pre-placing portals before a fight or throwing fake portals, as charges are only used upon teleporting. However, it's not perfect as compared to the shockwave grenades. It takes a few seconds to be effective, unless you've already portaled before entering a fight. And upon being thrown, it shows which direction it was thrown in, and the portal exit is visible to enemies. So while, like, if you're getting shot at and you throw the thing, the enemies already know where you're exactly going to go, and they can just pre-fire there, and then you're dead. So it can be pretty hit or miss. When it works, it's fantastic, but if you don't use it properly, it can just get you killed, and you're like, oh, crap. Anyways, the shockwave grenades are my personal favorite. They are so good. They are awesome and almost an opposite to the portal mask thing, rather than kind of a more drawn-out, methodical approach to movement and stuff. The shockies, you just throw it down, and then you go flying, and then you shoot the guy. Its minimal setup and quick activation help to get you to get in and out of any situation. Its drawbacks are pretty rough though, as you can only have 6 in a current stack that takes up 1 inventory slot, and compared to the mask's 15 charges, that puts you at kind of, it's what, math? Yeah, less than half the uses for the same inventory slot. So you have to be a little bit, you have to just keep in mind how many shotkeys you have left. Along with that, the learning curve of the shotkeys is a bit higher than the mask, so rather than just point and activate, you actually have to be able to predict where the shockwave grenade will shoot you. So you throw it on the ground, and then you have to be able to kind of get the angle correct of how and where you shoot it, so you don't go flying into the storm or something stupid. Speaking of stupid, how'd you like that bridge? We have the Typhoon Blade. I hate this thing. It's stupid. It allows you to run a little bit quicker and allows you to jump a little bit quicker, but you're just out in the open running and jumping like a silly guy, and then you just get gunned down. Its damage, like when actually using it as a weapon, can be pretty good. Its best thing, if you're actually using it as a weapon per se, is that you can use its kind of charge attack to kind of knock people back. But if you do that, I don't like you, so don't do that. It could be a good fallback, like if you don't have a mask or any shockwave grenades yet, but the moment you find those, drop the stupid thing and get one of those. If you're relying on the blade for damage, don't do that. Okay, so moving on from movement, we have healing and buildings. Now, this season, both these items are super duper important, as the beam potential of hit scan weapons makes it a necessity to either be able to take cover and regain health and shields. The bush thing is fun. I don't use it. Don't worry about it. Use the porta bunker. The porta bunker is insane. This thing is so good. It doesn't seem like it, but enabling yourself to build and zero build is immensely powerful. For healing, I prefer Chug Splash due to its quick time use and ability to heal health and shields. But if you can't find that, shield pots are always a good thing to use. Touching back on the porta bunker, it's literally just like an instant cover button. You can use it to get high ground. You can use it to even just throw off enemies. I'll throw up a couple clips here. It's so nice. It is so good to have. All right, game cycles. So, as you know, a round of Fortnite is around a 20-ish minute loop. You can play this time out any way you like, however, there are a few objectives that I would at least recommend that you aim for in this allotted time. Think of it this way. In order to win, you have a set amount of time you have to spend in order to get stronger. This season especially, it is so important to go around and complete different things rather than just going out and trying to kill people. Because you can drop like a 20 bomb and then be left at the end of the game with no medallions and no good guns, and then you're just kind of screwed, and that sucks. Here's the order that I would kind of aim to get these things done in. First thing that you should prioritize is getting the train done. The train has the mythic hollow AR. This is the best gun in the game. No questions asked. This thing is amazing. And you can get it right off the start of the map. Now, the reason why it's especially top priority is not only are you getting your hands on the best gun in the game in the early game, but you really don't want another squad getting their hands on this thing because it is that good. So best thing that you can do is find out where the train is going on the map, whether it's on the bus or right before you're still like on Spawn Island or whatever, and just aim to get on the train. Whether you drop somewhere that the train is headed or drop directly on the train or something like that, get on the train, get the good gun. Anyways, once you're kind of done with that, go off and kill the boss once or twice. This guy will spawn all around the map until the 4th storm cycle. Now, if you're playing solos or even duos, it might not be the best idea to go do this. It might be a little bit better to kind of go around and just loot and just play the game kind of normally. But especially if you're in squads, killing the boss a couple of times and getting just more mythic guns for your team is really, really nice. Each time that you kill this guy, it's guaranteed that he's going to drop a mythic gun. He's not going to drop a veiled SMG, and he's not going to drop a hollow, as those guys are kind of independently their own thing, how to get them. But it's very good to just have more mythic guns. I mean, of course that's good. Now, you have to get this done before the 4th storm cycle, as that is when the boss island spawns. Pretty much no matter what you are doing, you gotta hurry over to the island. You have to maintain good game sense as you do this, though, as prioritizing your time and putting yourself in the best place to win is vital. For example, it is not a good idea to stop going after the island just because you see a few far-off squads fighting. They are not the priority. The win button is, which is ultimately the medallion that you get from defeating the boss on the boss island. You gotta keep perspective though, as if you see a squad getting to the island as you do, it may be in your best interest to kill them before fighting the boss. What's worse than fighting a squad? Fighting the boss and a squad, and vice versa. Normally don't want to keep focusing on the boss if you see a squad rolling in. Anyways, assuming it went smoothly, you should have the mythic hollow and an extra mythic or 2 for your squad mates, and the crazy overpowered boss medallion that gives you invisibility while sprinting and infinite stamina. Best practice from here is to find a car or a merc, get on some high ground, and win the game. It's tempting to try and go kill everyone yourself from there, however it's best to not risk it all just for some extra XP. Now time to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the Nightrose boss fight. Located at Demon's Dojo, the Nightrose boss fight offers a mythic veiled SMG in the Nightrose medallion, which siphons ammo back into your clip as you shoot, allowing the user essentially to have a much larger clip without having to reload. The reason why I discouraged this route as opposed to the route that I offered is that the holo is simply that good, and especially with playing squads, getting more squad mates, mythic weapons will only help your case, which is by going to kill the boss around the map a whole bunch. As well as this, and this is a bit more situational, when going for the boss island later on, the medallion circle is shown from the Nightrose. It takes away all stealth when getting to the island. I can't tell you how many times I've spotted a medallion crew approaching the island, do the circle thing, and that gave me just enough warning time so that they could not pose a threat. Alright, so moving on. How do you actually rotate and get all that stuff done so quickly? You can use shockeys as they send you really far really quickly. However, due to their limited uses, it's best to save them for combat in my opinion. Same story goes for the mask, and the sword is just asking to get shot in the open. Deserved! Anyways, the best thing to do is load the squad into a car or a merc. Or, well, I guess you could have two people standing on top of a car. Just go for a merc if you're playing squads. It's the best thing to do. Cars are already great resources, as the timing the boosts with slight hills can send you flying really far distances, but then they can also be used for cover in fights. Positioning yourself with the right side of the car facing your enemies allows you as the driver to jump out of the vehicle and automatically have cover. Anyways, using your car to effect will allow you to easily knock those objectives off the board easy peasy. And as well as this, using high ground is absolutely vital when preparing for a fight or repositioning while already in a fight. Using a car or other mobility that I've already talked about to get high ground can be an absolute game changer at any point of the game. Not just end game, although that's when, of course, high ground is most effective. Now that we've gotten the more season-specific stuff out of the way, let's talk about something a bit more broad. Fighting in Fortnite is of course super important, but how you handle these situations can be the difference between not making it out of your drop spot and winning a match. In zero build, fights can be determined in just a few shots, so executing a balance between raw skill, game sense, and positioning will give you the best situation to get those dubs. Now let's break these down with first up, raw skill. I'm talking about how good you literally are at fighting. Taking the other factors out of the equation, how is your aim? How confident are you with different weapons or countering different weapons? Do your shockeys put you at an advantage or shoot you in a random direction? If you get factors like these under control, results will follow. Now, this is one of the few times I'm a true believer in going outside of standard battle royale. Think about it, in a 20-minute match you only actually spend a small margin in fights. This true lack of practice can mess with you, leaving you feel inexperienced or underconfident, and then that leads you to chokes and just an unfun experience. Creative maps such as the Pit, zero build of course, puts you in a perfect environment to practice literally everything I mentioned, without the risk of going back to the lobby and wasting more time. Since using the Pit in similar maps myself, everything about playing out fights has gotten easier, including managing game sense. Now, okay, you might be wondering, what do you mean by game sense? Or if you already know about the term, then, oh, what's this guy gotta talk about? Well, what I mean with game sense is your decision making. Especially with zero build, because you just can't build out of any situation. I'm not trying to dog on, build mode, but like it's a lot more of positioning really matters in zero build. So of course, having items like the shockeys or other movement stuff, even the sword, yes, you can use the sword to your advantage. Blech. Just kind of keeping in mind positioning is so important. So let me draw up a little scenario for you, and I'm gonna directly tie this in with game sense versus skill. So let's say it's a top 5 situation. There are 3 players in front of you that you just see. They're all fighting each other. You have high ground. So what someone who's really, really skilled at the game might be really tempted to do is leave your high ground and go in guns blazing and try and kill everybody. What's going to end up happening? Well, you're probably going to end up killing everyone if you're really that good at the game. And guess what? The last guy's going to show up and hit you twice, and then you're dead. And then you lost the game. So what is someone that is really prioritizing game sense doing? Someone with really high game sense, 9 times out of 10 is going to beat someone who's even better at them at the game. It's just how this zero build battle royale works. This is just my opinion though. So what someone who's prioritizing game sense is going to do, they're going to just wait on that high ground and just hide. Not hide, but like not expose yourself unless you really have to. Because losing health, it's almost like health is kind of like not just, of course, how you stay alive, but it's also kind of like a currency. You have to spend health only when you absolutely have to, when you're absolutely having to fight someone. So let me go through that scenario again. You're up on your high ground. You see those people fighting. Let's say one of them dies, there's 2 people left. If you have like the mythic hollow AR or a really good gun that you're really confident with, you can probably kill those guys easy peasy and then just wait for the last guy to show up. That is infinitely better than just putting yourself at a disadvantage by just rushing into the fight. And that's just not just for endgame. That's for every single situation. Keeping game sense in mind is what separates, 5% win rate from a 50% win rate. It is so important. And directly related to game sense, I kind of touched on it, but kind of not really, is positioning. I kind of want to talk about this just as its own thing. Now, you can divide positioning up into a couple of different scenarios, little micro scenarios, such as positioning yourself with porta bunkers, positioning yourself with shockwave grenades, even the sword, using the medallion, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, you want to be in a better spot than whoever it is you're fighting. Now, this, of course, works directly with game sense, as you have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to be aware of your resources to put yourself in those good positions. But you got to be in the good spot at the right time. And that kind of can also seem like a bit of a luck thing. And I'll be completely honest, it can be a little bit luck, impacted. By that, I mean like storm cycles. Sometimes you just get absolutely screwed over by a storm cycle and that ruins everything. And you're just like, well, crap. Other times, you just have to kind of play those odds in your favor. Keeping sure that you have a car, even in the end game. Having a car, game changing. Having good movement, game changing. Like, you could be in an endgame situation and you have no movement and storm's on the other side of the map and you're just like, or not really the map, just, kind of other side of circle, and you're just done for. You're absolutely done for. Having items in your inventory to help you get better positioning and knowing what position to prioritize is super duper important. For example, it might be better to go slightly out of the way, even on the way into storm, and just put yourself on high ground rather than just cutting directly into storm or into, whatever, the safe zone, and getting shot at from above from someone that you couldn't see, and then your game's over. Also using just kind of cover. You always want to have some kind of cover. You never want to be out in the open, especially for too long. Whether that cover is, porta bunker, a car, a rack, anything. Put yourself in a good winning position. Don't put yourself in a bad position, because then you're gonna, most of the time, lose. So, maintaining a good balance between, of course, skill, and then game sense and positioning. Putting all those together, that is how you really, really, you will start to excel. Now, of course, combining all that stuff with all the weapons and the items and everything that I was talking about prior to this, really, really important. But even if you're going against someone with, the Veiled SMG, Mythic, blah, 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 the Mythic Hollow AR, if you are much better at positioning, game sense, and your skill is higher, you're going to win. Now, of course, that's not going to happen every time. Some things just kind of go wrong. That's another thing that you have to keep in mind, especially if you're just kind of grinding it out. Keeping your mindset in a good spot is really important. Not everything is in your control. If you just go on a losing streak, that's fine. That happens. It's Fortnite. Don't take it too seriously. It's okay. But then getting in that practice in the pit or just in normal Fortnite matches can even just help your mindset, because you know that you're doing everything that you can. Now, as far as just general things you should know when at least playing Fortnite and stuff, that's mostly everything. Of course, I can make another guide that really goes more into depth about everything I talked about, which, I mean, if this goes well, then I probably will end up doing. But there is another thing that I do want to talk about, and that is clutching. Now, I'm not really talking about solo matches, well, because, you're just going against solo teams the entire time because it's solos. I'm talking about when you're the last player left, whether it's duos, trios, or squads, the same rules still apply. I'm not going to go too into depth in this, specific category, as this video is already 20 minutes long. And if you guys want that, I can just make that its own thing. But bottom line, everything that I've talked about is ramped up when you're the last person left. Positioning, ultra important. But, gunplay, crazy important, because one mistake, you're instantly going to get punished by 3 people all shooting at you at once. If you can manage to keep the kind of that balance between skill, game sense, and positioning, you will be a-okay as long as you keep things on your terms. Like this clip, I just showed it a couple seconds ago, but I'm going to put it again up here. One teammate tries to push me by themselves. They get instantly punished. I shoot them, they're dead. I remove them from the game, because you have to be sure to make sure that you kill down players, unless it's like a whole thing where you're just on a roll killing everybody. Letting down players live is awful. It was a mistake that I did for a very, very long time, because I don't want to BM people. No, be mean, shoot people. You're by yourself. You are desperate. Shoot them. You got this. Bottom line, solo, I'm just going to call it solo squads. Even this still applies for duos and trios and everything. Solo squatting is difficult. It is possible. But, I mean, at the end of the day, don't get too upset at yourself if you don't clutch up one of those kinds of situations, because at the end of the day, you are one person against more than one person. And even if, you know, it's a 1v1, don't sweat it if you don't make it out. It's okay. Bottom line, make sure that the cards are in your deck. And by that, I mean, make sure that they are the ones playing on the back foot, not the other way around. You do not want to be running around with no plan against the squad, because you will die. You want to make sure that they're the ones getting punished for their mistakes, not the other way around. By that, I mean, be sure that you are the one with the high ground, you are the one with the car, you are the one with the good items. If they have high ground, if they have a car, if they have the items that you simply don't, it's going to be very difficult to position yourself in a spot to win. Again, I can go more into depth of this later, as this is a really fun topic that I really enjoy talking about. But it almost deserves its own video relative to everything else. Anyways, I hope that you've enjoyed this kind of little guide. And yeah, okay. Thanks for watching. Bye. Subscribe.